In the autumn of 1979, a quiet political scientist at the University of Michigan mailed out an invitation that would rewrite the way psychologists, economists, and military strategists understand human behavior. He wrote to the sharpest game theorists, economists, and computer scientists alive. "Submit a strategy," he said. "Any strategy you want. It will play the prisoner's dilemma against every other entry." 14 of the most decorated minds on the planet submitted programs. Paranoid, aggressive, probabilistic monsters. Some stretched across hundreds of lines of code, engineered to exploit, dominate, and trap any opponent they faced. The strategy that won was 4 lines long. Most people believe that to survive the games humans play, the negotiations, the betrayals, the quiet manipulations at dinner tables and boardroom meetings, you have to out-cruel the cruel. Strike first, trust nothing, defect early and often. That belief is a beautiful lie, and the 1980 tournament exposed it with mathematical finality. The move that dismantled every elaborate manipulator in the room is so simple, a child could memorize it in under a minute. The problem is, almost no one in the general population can bring themselves to execute it under pressure. And once you understand why, you will never play another conversation the same way again. The prisoner's dilemma is worth understanding in 60 seconds because it maps onto almost every significant decision you will ever make. 2 players, each one picks, in private, to cooperate or to defect. If you both cooperate, you each walk away with a solid reward. If one defects while the other cooperates, the defector wins big and the cooperator loses everything. If you both defect, you both get punished. The pure mathematics of a single round says one thing: defect, always defect. No matter what the other person does, defecting gives you a better payoff. This is the famous Nash equilibrium that John Nash formalized at Princeton in 1950. The stable point where no rational player has any reason to change their move, given what the other player is doing. Here is the cruelty of it. If both players behave rationally by that narrow definition, they both defect, and they both end up worse off than if they had simply cooperated. 2 intelligent people, each making the individually optimal choice, locking themselves into the collectively worst outcome that was available to them. Robert Axelrod's 1980 tournament changed one variable. His version was not a single round. It was iterated. Each submitted strategy played 200 rounds against every other strategy in the field. And that single change, repetition, shattered everything game theorists thought they knew about winning. Because once a game repeats, ghosts enter the room. Memory, reputation, the possibility of retaliation. Suddenly, every move is not just a move, it is a signal about what kind of player you are. Move 1. The strategy that ate every monster in the room. When Axelrod tallied the final scores, the academic world went quiet for a long moment. The strategies at the bottom of the leaderboard, the ones engineered by specialists to exploit, manipulate, deceive, and dominate, had all lost. Every single one of them. The winners shared one quiet trait. They were nice, not nice in the sentimental, self-help, always turn the other cheek way. Nice in a precise, operational, blood-on-the-teeth way. Every winning strategy obeyed one specific rule. It was never the first to defect. It did not open the relationship with an attack. The tournament champion was a program submitted by a mathematical psychologist named Anatole Rappaport. He called it tit for tat. Its entire code consisted of 4 rules. On the first move, cooperate. On every move after that, do exactly what your opponent did on the previous move. Never be the first to defect. Forgive the instant your opponent returns to cooperation. That was it. 4 lines, and it obliterated programs that had been designed by some of the most decorated minds in the field. Axelrod, baffled by his own findings, ran the tournament a second time the following year. He invited 62 new strategies. Everyone had already seen Rappaport's winner. They had all had months to study it, dissect it, and build programs specifically engineered to exploit a nice strategy. Tit for tat won again. What Axelrod eventually published in his 1984 book, The Evolution of Cooperation, was not a theory about computers playing games. It was a theory about you, about the shape of every relationship, every contract, every whispered alliance, every quiet betrayal humans have ever entered into. He identified 4 properties that every winning strategy possessed: nice, retaliatory, forgiving, clear. Read those 4 words again, slowly. Nice never initiates cruelty. Retaliatory punishes defection immediately, not after a week of stewing. Forgiving returns to cooperation the instant the other person does. Clear, so transparent in its pattern that the opponent can figure it out and adapt to it. Look at your own life. Look at the people you know who are slowly failing in their relationships, in their businesses, in their reputations. Almost every one of them is failing on at least one of these 4 axes. Some are nice, but not retaliatory. They swallow every insult and call it maturity. People use them until there is nothing left. Some are retaliatory, but not forgiving. They hold grudges like war trophies. Every minor slight becomes a permanent sentence. Their closest relationships rot into cold wars that last decades. Some are unclear. They smile while quietly keeping score, and then explode 6 months later at a birthday dinner over something no one else remembers happening. And some are not nice at all. They defect first. They open every interaction as if it is already a battlefield. Every one of these players is losing. The math does not care how clever they think they are being. Axelrod's deepest insight was buried in a single paragraph most readers skip. He found that tit-for-tat never beats its opponent in any individual matchup. It cannot. By design, it can never score higher than the player across from it. It only mirrors the previous move. It ties or it loses every single head-to-head round, but across hundreds of opponents and thousands of rounds, it accumulates more cooperation, more trust, and more cumulative reward than any other strategy on Earth. It loses every battle and wins every war. This is the first fracture in the way you have been taught to think. You were trained to measure yourself one interaction at a time. Did I win that argument? Did I get the better of that negotiation? Did I come out on top in that conversation? That is the wrong scoreboard. The winner is not the one who wins the most individual rounds. The winner is the one still standing with cooperation intact when the tournament ends. Most people cannot even see the tournament. They only see the round. Move 2. The trap most people die inside. There is a reason the vast majority of humans never escape the losing strategies. They are stuck inside what game theorists call the Nash trap. John Nash proved something that quietly terrified economists for decades. In any competitive interaction, there exists at least one equilibrium, one stable state, where no player has any reason to change their strategy, given what the other player is currently doing. That sounds harmless until you realize the implication. The stable equilibrium is very often the worst possible outcome for both players. Consider the arms race of the Cold War. Both superpowers spent trillions on weapons they prayed they would never use. Neither side could afford to stop building, because if one stopped and the other did not, the one who stopped would lose everything. So they both built and both bankrupted themselves, and both ended up with less real security than they had started with. That is a Nash equilibrium. Mutual defection, locked in place by the fear of being the sucker. Now shrink that logic down to your life. 2 siblings who stopped speaking over an inheritance dispute in 2011. Neither will reach out first, because reaching out would feel like weakness. 15 years of silence. Both miserable, neither able to move. A couple who have not had an honest conversation in 4 years. Every attempt at honesty got punished, so they both defect. Small lies, quiet resentments, emotional withdrawal. Both people are suffering. Both people know the other is suffering. Neither will cooperate first, because the last time they did, they got burned. A team at a company where every department is hoarding information. Everyone knows the organization would function better with transparency. But the moment one department shares first, they lose leverage. So everyone hoards, the company rots from within, and the entire group loses. This is the Nash trap. It is not stupidity. It is mathematically rational, given the assumption that the other player will defect on you. And here is the brutal truth most people never accept. The only way out of a Nash trap is for someone to irrationally cooperate first. Somebody has to be willing to take the first hit. Somebody has to extend the cooperative move, knowing it might get exploited because it is the only signal that can collapse the equilibrium. Once the cooperative move lands and the other player responds in kind, the entire structure shifts. A new equilibrium forms, one that benefits both sides. Now you understand why Axelrod's winning rule was never be the first to defect. It was not a moral position, it was an engineering specification for breaking the Nash trap. A strategy that is willing to cooperate first is the only kind of strategy that can escape the prison that rationality itself builds around you. The people who rise in business, in relationships, in reputation, they are the ones who have developed the quiet courage to extend a cooperative move first, knowing the downside, and then letting clean retaliation do its work if the signal gets rejected. They look soft to the paranoid. They are not soft. They are simply playing a much longer game than the people watching them. There is a difference between a man who trusts because he is naive and a man who trusts because he has run the numbers and decided that opening with cooperation is his dominant long-term strategy. One is a lamb. The other is a surgeon who knows exactly when and how to cut. The question is not whether to trust. The question is how to trust with your teeth still intact. The move is not what you think it is. You are now roughly halfway through this, and you probably think you already have the answer. Start nice. Mirror defection. Forgive quickly. Be clear. That is not the move. Tit for tat is a strategy. Strategies are executed inside a game. The real move, the one that outsmarts almost every human being you will meet in your entire life, happens one layer above the strategy. It is the recognition of which game you are actually in. Thomas Schelling, the Nobel laureate who wrote The Strategy of Conflict in 1960, identified something most people still do not understand. Every interaction you will ever have is either a one-shot game or an iterated game. And the single greatest mistake humans make, over and over again, is confusing the two. Most people, including the smart, the educated, the ambitious, walk through life playing every interaction as if it is one shot, as if the person across from them will vanish after this conversation, as if the consequences of defecting will not ripple outward, as if this moment exists inside a sealed vacuum with no memory, no network, and no return path. So they lie on resumes, they ghost on text messages, they cut corners at work, they treat service workers like furniture, they exploit small advantages, they defect in 100 small, undetectable ways every single day. They are not wrong in the short term. The math of a genuine one-shot game genuinely says, defect, take the advantage, move on. The problem is, they are in the wrong game. Life is iterated. It has memory. People talk. Reputations compound silently across decades. The friend you screwed over in 2018 sits on the hiring committee in 2026. The contractor you stiffed for $400 is connected to the client who was about to sign a $40,000 deal with you. The person you treated dismissively at 23 becomes the decision maker you desperately need at 35. The simple move that outsmarts 99% of the population is this: treat every interaction as if it will repeat, even when it almost certainly will not. Not because you are afraid of karma, not because of morality, because of the cold mathematics of compounding reputation across thousands of tiny rounds that the other players have forgotten are being recorded. That is the lever. That is the entire lever. While 99% of the population is defecting on the 100 small interactions that nobody is supposedly watching, the 1% is quietly cooperating, building a reputation so dense that opportunities, trust, and alliances flow toward them without any visible effort. From the outside, it looks like luck. It looks like charm. It looks like privilege. It is not. It is game theory, executed with ruthless discipline, compounded over time. And there is one more layer. Because cooperation is not the whole picture, there is a specific move, borrowed directly from Schelling's work on nuclear strategy, that transforms cooperation from a potential vulnerability into a surgical weapon. Move 3, the surgical use of the closed door. Schelling was obsessed with a paradox that most people find genuinely counterintuitive the first time they hear it. He called it the commitment problem. In any negotiation, the weaker party often wins, not by becoming stronger, but by becoming more credibly committed. More specifically, by publicly destroying their own ability to back down. Schelling's classic example involves a game of chicken. Two cars driving straight at each other. Whoever swerves first loses. The rational move for a rational driver is to analyze the situation in real time and make a judgment call at the last possible second. But Schelling showed something terrifying. If one driver, in full view of the other, rips the steering wheel out of his car and throws it out the window, he wins every single time. Why? Because he has publicly destroyed his own ability to swerve. His commitment to going straight is now absolutely credible. The rational move for the other driver, the only move, is to swerve. The man who removed his options won the game because he removed his options. This breaks everything you have been taught about flexibility, keeping your cards close and leaving doors open. Sometimes the most devastating move on the board is the public, deliberate, irreversible burning of your own escape route. History is full of commanders who understood this instinctively. When Hernán Cortés landed on the coast of Mexico in 1519, his men were outnumbered, demoralized, and quietly planning mutiny. Cortés ordered them to scuttle their own ships. The message was not ambiguous. There is no going home. There is only forward. His men, who had been entertaining retreat, suddenly had their cognitive bandwidth forcibly redirected toward victory. They conquered an empire. The credible commitment turned a structural weakness into an asymmetric weapon. Now apply this to your actual life. In a salary negotiation, the person who has said, "I will absolutely not accept below X," and has visibly anchored that commitment to a spouse, a mentor, or a written target, has far more leverage than the person who says, "Well, I'd prefer at least X." In a contract dispute, the party that has retained a lawyer and filed paperwork has more leverage than the party still hoping for a friendly resolution, because the paperwork is a visible, costly, credible signal that escalation is already underway. In a relationship, the person who has quietly decided and acted consistently on the decision that certain behaviors will end, the relationship has infinitely more leverage than the one who issues threats but never actually moves when tested. The key word is credibility. A commitment that can be quietly walked back is not a commitment. It is a preference wearing theatrical clothing. This is where 99% of the population fails. They try to commit while keeping their escape routes open. They threaten without preparing to follow through. They set boundaries they immediately negotiate against. They issue ultimatums and cave when the pressure arrives. Every single time they do this, they teach the other player, the opponent, the partner, the boss, the child, the vendor, that their threats are empty and their commitments are cosmetic. The operational version of this move is simple. If you are going to commit in a way that you cannot easily reverse. Tell someone. Write it down. Put money or reputation behind it. Make the backing down cost more than the following through. That is the steering wheel thrown out the window. That is the ship scuttled in the harbor. That is the move that collapses the opponent's calculation before the real negotiation even begins. Move 4. The reason pure rationality will destroy you. There is one last layer, and it is the one that most classical game theorists quietly avoid because it breaks their beautiful equations wide open. In 1982, a young economist named Werner Güth ran a deceptively simple experiment at the University of Cologne. He called it the Ultimatum Game. The rules: 2 strangers. One is handed a sum of money, say $100. They must propose a split to the other person. The second person has only one choice: accept the split or reject it. If they accept, the money is divided as proposed. If they reject it, nobody gets anything at all. Pure classical game theory predicts something very specific. The rational split is 99 to 1. The first player keeps 99, offers $1 to the second player, and the second player, being rational, should accept, because $1 is strictly better than $0. That is the textbook Nash equilibrium. It is mathematically tidy. It is also completely wrong about what human beings actually do. When Güth ran the experiment, second players rejected unfair offers constantly. Offers below roughly 30% got rejected in the overwhelming majority of cases, even when it meant walking away with literally nothing. Even when the amounts were large enough to make the rejection genuinely painful. The experiment has since been replicated in dozens of countries across radically different cultures, with amounts scaled as high as several months of local wages. The result holds. Humans will pay real money, sometimes painful money, to punish someone they feel treated them unfairly. This is not irrationality. It is a deeper form of rationality that classical game theory missed completely. Neuroeconomist Ernst Fehr at the University of Zurich traced brain activity in people rejecting lowball offers in the Ultimatum Game. The region that fired most intensely was the anterior insula, the same area of the brain that processes physical disgust. The same region activated by the smell of rotting food. An unfair offer does not just offend people intellectually, it viscerally nauseates them at the neurological level, and they will burn themselves down in the process of burning the offender in return. This has a brutal implication for how you play your own life. You cannot treat human beings as purely rational optimizers. Humans are iterated game animals, built by 300,000 years of evolutionary pressure to punish defection, even when it costs them personally. They will set fire to their own relationships, their own jobs, their own finances, to hurt someone who crossed a moral threshold, which means this. The moment someone feels you have played them unfairly, you have created a psychological enemy who will accept real losses just to damage you. Not because they are irrational, because they are running an ancient pre-verbal program designed to enforce cooperation across generations of social animals. This is why the win the single negotiation, exploit the small advantage strategy is so catastrophic over time. You do not just walk away with a small win. You walk away with a quietly accumulating stockpile of hidden enemies who will each pay real personal costs at moments of their own choosing to take something from you. The simple move is not about being kind because kindness is pretty or noble. The simple move is about playing the repeated game so cleanly that you never accumulate that stockpile in the first place. So you have the architecture. Extend cooperation first. Mirror defection immediately and cleanly without drama. Forgive the instant the other side returns to the board. Commit credibly when commitment itself is the weapon. And never, under any circumstance, treat a real human interaction as if it is a one-shot. That is the simple move. Those are the rules that outsmart 99% of the population. They will fit on a single index card. The reason they work is not because they are clever. They are not clever. They are embarrassingly, almost insultingly simple. Anatole Rappaport's 4 rules have been in print since 1980. John Nash's equations have been on blackboards since 1950. Schelling's commitment paradox was published in 1960. Güth's Ultimatum Game has been replicated for over 40 years. None of this is hidden. It is all sitting in plain sight. And almost nobody executes it, because to execute it, you have to give up something quietly intoxicating, the illusion that you are the main character of a series of one-shot games, where you can take what you want and move on untouched. You have to accept that every small exchange is a round in a tournament that will not end until the day you die, that every convenient lie, every dismissive text, every quiet exploitation is a move on a board that will be replayed at the other player's chosen moment, possibly decades from now. Most nervous systems cannot hold that thought. It is too heavy. It demands a cold, surgical discipline that feels unnatural within minutes of trying. But the few who can hold it, the ones who walk through every interaction as if the tournament genuinely never ends, slowly build lives that look from the outside like the universe is conspiring in their favor. It is not conspiring. They are simply playing a different game than the people around them, playing it silently, playing it for a scoreboard that nobody else has learned to read yet. And now, whether you like it or not, so are you. YouTube has quietly moved to demonetize this channel to keep this kind of thinking off the mainstream platform. They do not want an audience that understands the math underneath their own behavior. Instead of sanitizing the content to keep advertisers comfortable, I am doing the opposite. I am going darker, but I cannot keep this work alive alone. Click the link in the description and join me on Patreon for the uncensored videos, the members-only audio podcast, and the psychological blueprints they refuse to let me publish here. Most people will keep scrolling. You already know better than that.